Boom! What up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I'm your host with the most, A.D. Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator. So I appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I appreciate you guys. Make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Like today, we're going to keep it a little light. The things we learned about getting older. The things we learned about getting older. So make sure you share, tag somebody that you know is getting older. So we have an interesting conversation. It's not going to be too deep, or it may get deep, depending on the direction that we go. But I kind of made it broad. All right. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Thank you guys for being a part of this broadcast. So we appreciate you. This is the week of Christmas. Already there. Richard, he said, already there. I know that's right. So it's a week of Christmas. Prayerfully, everybody's going to have a great holiday. Everybody's already set their holiday up. If you're not praying for you, I know how it is. Sometimes at last minute, things happen. But make sure you're safe. Make sure you do the right thing. And that's it. That's all. Let's dig into it. Let's go.
I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast, where we are changing our community one conversation at a time, every day.
We are creating a new legacy.
Change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come, change gon' come.
A co-op has to start with ownership. Right. We have a mindset of either I want to make a lot of money or survive. Make a bunch of money or I got to figure out how to survive.
When you have a real bond, when everyone has, we come in with real expectations. Mm-hmm. Because this is covenant.
My whole point is that we as a people, with our money and time, aren't often making this general possible, often vested in the business.
All right. Oh, wait. Hold up. Hold tight. Here we go. All right.
Morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to everyone.
Good morning. All right. So, like I said, today we're going to talk about the things we learned about getting older. Let's see. Hold on. So we're talking about the things about getting older. He said, Richard said, time used to stretch out longer when you were young. After 50, it seems to fly as fast as a plane. Richard, that's scary. Tell you why. Because I feel like after some like 21, 22, time really began to roll. And I looked around, I was 30. Nope. Then I looked around, I was 40. I'm like, where is the time going? So are you telling me that time is going to get faster after 50? That is scary.
It's funny, right? A minute is still 60 seconds.
right. Time ain't changed. Well, why does it seem faster? Then this daggone Corona made 2 years go like that. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait.
It's the one thing that we have to keep reminding ourselves that there's still 24 hours in a day. There's still 7 days in a week, still 12 days, 12 months in a year. But it begins with there's 60 seconds in a minute.
Right.
You know, and I think your perspective really changes.
Right. You said it depends on what you need time for. Right.
Thank you. That's it right there, McNair.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Your perspective.
Right. Right. I need time for everything. I need just time to just slow down slow bit. I am in no rush to get to anything now. Just I know even something great coming, fine. It just take it a while to get there. It's cool. I got time. What's up, Kadeem? Good morning. Good morning.
Fellas, how y'all doing?
Good morning,
All
Doc.
is
How you
well.
doing, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just want to say happy Monday to everybody. If we haven't said that, it took Pastor's words right out of his mouth. And welcome to everybody.
Oh, that's right. I didn't have my microphone when I said it. I was saying it, but no one heard me.
Welcome to another edition of Brothers of Legacy. I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us on another week of the brothers. So, like I said, as you can see, the things we learned about getting older. So let me ask you, gentlemen, and anyone wants to jump in first. Matter of fact, I just throw it at Kadeem first. He said, "Yeah, right. That's true." Elder McNace. He said, "Yeah, but for people that punch the clock, they're trying to rush time." Right. Right. Oh man. So give yourself permission to live life to the fullest, right? With passion and zeal, with no regrets, apologizing to no one. So yeah, definitely want to live your life to the fullest. Let me ask you this. So what is the one thing that you realized your body wise, right?
Only one?
I know. Matter of fact, yeah, we can name several. So transitioning, right? So people are watching. Some. I'm not sure everybody. We got quite a range of folks that watch this broadcast. So, what did you feel like going from like 20s to 30s, and the difference between that and then going into your 40s? Like, what was some of the transition? Some of the things that you felt body wise? I know for me, going from 20 to 30, you realize your body becomes a little limited as to what you can do, or healing. Like, you hurt something, it just doesn't heal as fast. Like, you remember, like, man, I've never hurt my finger, hurt something that lasted, like 2 months. It's like, I still feel it. Like, why is it still hurting? Like, I think I remember one time I hurt my ankle. I think I was like 40. And I think it took like 2 months before like the pain really got away. It's like, man, it's been 3 weeks and the joint still hurt. So outside of that, because we know pain seems to last. That's a given. That seems like everyone goes through the pain lasting longer than you usually used to having. You're like, man, is it really my body can't heal faster? What is it that you feel as far as your body that you discovered? And I'm listening too because you guys are a tad bit older. But what things have you discovered that you didn't experience when you were younger?
So so how old are you, AD?
I'm 45.
How old are you, Kaneem?
47.
Okay.
So y'all should be right around y'all kind of neck and neck.
Yeah.
How old is McNair?
McNair. That's a good question. I think
I
know.
Put yourself on blast, McNair.
We're gonna get some ages.
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because we go through, I think physically, and it's different for men and women.
Right.
Oh, 51. Okay. So we're neck and neck. We close. You got me at the ankles. We're different because women, I believe, physically peak earlier than men.
Okay.
Right. But it takes a little longer for men to reach that physical peakness naturally. But I think and again, I think every body is different, but this is just Brian's opinion.
Right.
I think it takes men longer to peak physically because, guys, teenage boys and teenage girls look very different.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
But I think you go through something between your teens and your 20s.
Right.
I think you go through something else between your 20s and 30s. I think it's a big jump between your 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And it's a light year leap between your 40s and 50s.
Wow.
That's how I feel.
Right.
I was very physical early in life. I stayed fit for a long time. I had high metabolism. I was doing back handspring somersaults up through my 30s.
Wow.
I think the last time I did a back handspring, a backflip for folks, I think the last time I did one was the day I found out I shouldn't do it anymore. And I was probably 47.
Wow.
And I did a back handspring in my bedroom in front of my daughters because they were in gymnastics at the time.
You trying to show
and I didn't quite land right. In my mind, it went differently. Yeah. So, you know, it's like, but I always thought because I knew how to do it, I thought I would always be able to do it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Right. And one day I woke up and it just didn't work. You know, I jumped and I didn't go high enough. I didn't, just didn't work. And my daughter like, Daddy, you okay? You know, it's sad when your daughters are like, Daddy, you okay?
Right.
You know, you're like, yeah, I'm good. I just messed that one up. I'll do it again. No, Daddy, don't do that again. Don't do that again. Yeah. So that's okay. I'm trying to punish myself publicly to open up the conversation.
Yeah. Definitely. I was never like physically active like that. So like I've probably been more active physically as an adult than I was as a kid. Like I was a chunky kid. You know, I lost, weight, going into high school. More or less just small exercises changing. You know what it was? We walked, being in New York, you walk a lot. So we walked the streets a lot, and not like in an aimless way. Like we was always going somewhere like to the next town over. Of course, doing what boys do, looking for girls, either one town this way, one town that, like we was always traveling, always just on the move. So I think that attributed to me slimming down, but I was never like super active. I think for me, it's kind of like the opposite in the sense where I got a little more active. Now I never could do flips. I think I've tried, but if you don't do them, the vertical going over, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, like you lose your whole life. Like where am I at? When you come back through, you're like, wait, where am I at?
Yeah. Your hands are like, what did my feet just do?
Right.
And your feet are like, come on, let's go.
Right.
And the back is like, y'all tripping.
Right? What are we doing right now? So yeah, for me, I got a little more active, but I think it's funny. Like I never had the back spring moment, but I had a moment. I think me and my boys, we were a little older, and we ran. It was like we're gonna race, like from one of our houses to the other house, and running full steam. We about died. I think we was like closer to 30 and almost died. I felt like, what am I doing with my life? Why did I think this was a good idea?
Someone was inside your chest, right? Someone had actually got inside your chest.
Right.
And they had a 12 gauge shotgun in their hand.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
And blasted your chest from the inside.
Right. Exactly.
I know that feeling. How did I know that?
Right. Yeah. Because listen, I think all of us try stuff we've done at least one more time, and you realize, oh, okay, check box. I'm older.
Yeah.
He said, I could tell by Kadeem's expression with y'all's conversation that he didn't. So let's stay in that vein. Kadeem, what have you tried that you used to can do that you had to realize your body say, don't ever do that again?
Man, I lately in my 40s, nothing, man. I ain't tried nothing. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I think oh man.
You gotta
like I mean just being real with you. When I got on dialysis,
okay. Right.
When I was I got on dialysis at 35.
Wow.
So I was
Okay.
kind of young, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So since I had got on dialysis, it was like all my love. And don't get me wrong, I was an athlete. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I mean, I remember hopping 6-foot fences, one leap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you grab onto the top
Right.
and just
You
pull
go
your
right
whole
over
body
it.
weight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right
saying?
over it.
And land on your feet. You know, when you running from specific individuals,
Right.
you gotta be on top of things. You know what I'm saying? So that
Just leave it
was
at that. Specific
yeah.
individuals. Indeed.
So yeah, you be doing that. I mean, we did a lot of. We played basketball every day, and I think the last time I played basketball,
Okay.
I had just had a dialysis treatment,
Oh.
and my oldest Bryce, my oldest son, I think he's like 10, and
Okay.
we was playing 21,
Okay.
and man, when I tell you that was experience. I mean, I won, of course,
Okay.
but he was but
Point that
but
out.
the yeah, but the fact that he was 10 years old,
Right.
would you believe that's the last time we played?
Yeah.
That's the last. Hey, and now he a freshman in college. You know?
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
but I tell him every time, like,
Right.
hey, I have the last victory. I don't care how long you, whenever you get your grandkids, when make sure you tell that story. That your stepdaddy whooped your behind the last time y'all played basketball. You know what I'm saying? He be still trying to get me to play to this day. I say, no, I got to hang that hat. You know what I'm saying? You would never ever be able to say you beat me in basketball.
Right. When I walk into the room, you got to chant, "Here comes the champ."
Yeah, forever. But yeah, man. I mean, I was an athlete, man. I mean, I remember when I was working construction. I started working construction when I was like 25, I guess. You know, you used to hang outside the building, jumping on 18-wheelers. I'm all on this outrigger. I'm hooking up straps to material.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm laying it out. You know, I'm waiting on because sometimes when you're in remote areas, the helicopters they bring down the material. So you know what I'm saying? I'm doing all this. You know what I'm saying? I'm jumping.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just because I played football in high school.
Right.
And when you're doing, you're doing them 2-a-days and you know what I'm saying, you're doing all them cross country running and you trying to make sure you ready. So I mean, I was used to being mobile all the time because we was always like how you say you was walking in New York.
Right.
Well, we was driving everywhere, but once you get to a certain spot, whatever neighborhood you in, you walking. You know what I'm saying? Because it's certain you don't want to be in a vehicle when you need to be mobile trying to get through these houses.
The vehicle is easily identifiable.
Yeah.
I got it. You're right. No doubt.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, man. I miss those days, and I need to go ahead and now that I'm not on dialysis,
right?
And I mean, like right now, as of today, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This the biggest, is the heaviest
that you've ever
I've ever been.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I need to go ahead. I need to go ahead and slim that down for sure. So I guess I'm gonna try to kind of nip that in the bud, man. I need to get down to at least I would say a healthier weight because right now my weight is truly unhealthy. So and it all is like since I got that transplant,
right?
It's like it's just blowing up. I said, hold on, we need like you look like a Pillsbury Doughboy when you walk in the room. And I'm like, first thing you see is your stomach. Like, hold on, where you feet in your head at? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but that's my little part of my little man. I wish I was athletic again.
Oh man. Elder McNair said I remember trying to walk on my hands like I used to. Oh man, that must have been the
yeah. Oh, I don't know if you fell back on your feet or back on your butt, but I know it was something to see.
it's so funny you're talking about construction. I remember working I think it was probably like mid-20s working at Office Depot. And you ever think about the unsafe things you used to do? Like, I can't believe I used to do such crazy stuff like that. And we used to we used to have furniture in like the back of the store or whatever, and they had a forklift. So you stand on a forklift, either pushing furniture on or taking it off, and there was no belts, no nothing. We just winging it, kicking off heavy furniture. And I'm like sliding it, like one slip, I'm coming down. And it's so funny, like I never thought about it till I got older. I think I was working at Costco at the time, and the harness and stuff. I was like, man, I never worked with a harness. Like, honestly though, what's crazy, they never had a harness. Blowing up Office Depot, they never had a harness. There was no safety measure there. It was just ride on top of because there was no way to get the furniture unless someone was up there to push it onto the pallet or off the pallets. That's how we had to stack them up. And it was we just pushing it. Get on there, like hold on. I'm gonna stand with 1 foot right here and kick it onto the.
Hey, now let me tell you this one story. Let me tell you this one story, man. Working construction, man.
Okay.
And I was in Greenville, South Carolina, and we was building this parking deck, right? So it had 6 levels to this parking deck.
Okay.
So when on this parking deck, so you, on the top floor, where you got where it's just raw material, they call that the carpentry floor.
Okay.
So the floor below that will be the framing floor. So everything's framed and ready for concrete to be poured.
Okay.
So you ain't doing nothing right there. So they building floor by floor, right? So they didn't already pour the concrete. The concrete then cured. Take about 72 hours. So well, I ain't gonna get into that part. Let me stick to the story. It's about 72 hours of cure, but they got the big truss. Now these trusses 20 feet long and they 16 feet high, right? So if you go to a parking deck, if you go out to the edge, if you go from column to column, it's probably about 20 feet.
Right.
And if you look up, it's probably about 12 to 16 feet high. It just depends on how much concrete they're using. But anyway, so we get to that part. So this truss, right? They finna get ready to take this truss out because the concrete didn't form, so they can put it on the next level up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So when the crane is getting, so we hooking it up to the crane. Everybody hooking up to the crane. So he's got 4 sections that you're hooking up to the crane. So we all got it hooked up, and they got these turnbuckles, wire straps. So if you see turnbuckles, if you're looking at a parking deck, you see them wires that go across, keep the car from falling out of the building. Right. Yeah, okay. So, but these turnbuckles are anchored to the concrete floor inside the building. They're not on the columns.
Okay.
So once you let these turnbuckles, you gotta loosen them up. Once you release these turnbuckles, the truss is free. Okay. So you gotta push it manually.
Right.
So it's about 10 of us pushing the truss out.
Okay.
And when the truss starts moving by itself, that's when everybody back up, right?
Right.
So it's 10 of us pushing it out. Right. And it's about 2 black people and a bunch of amigos, right? So once it started moving, I back up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But one of the turnbuckle wires, it was almost like a snake, because the what's the name fell off the building. Oh. So when it started moving, but the cables on the crane, somebody didn't hook it up right. Oh. So instead of it catching, when it goes, it's supposed to swing out.
Right.
And when it swing out, the crane operator is supposed to pull up, and that's stabilized from swinging back into the building.
Right.
But they didn't hook the crane up correctly, so when it swung out, it swung out and fell down. Oh. You know what I'm saying, toward the ground. And that little turnbuckle wire cable was whipping, and it caught one of my little amigos' leg, and he was going down the building with the truss. So he grasping at the concrete, and I reached over there and grabbed his hand, right? Oh. And that wire just ripped over off his leg, just went around his leg. Hey, when I tell you, this little Mexican guy wanted to kiss me all day, man. You saved my life. It's like,
Right.
my little Mexican buddy bought me little homemade burritos for the rest of the time. He bought me breakfast
Wow.
and lunch. But I think we was there
Nice.
another 2 months, man. He bought me breakfast
Wow.
and lunch. I said, it was like I was his savior or something. I was like, man, hey, it was just a little reaction. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
you don't want to see nobody perish. But hey, when that
Right.
trust hit the ground, it's like an earthquake, man. You
Yeah.
had to see it to believe it.
Wow.
Perspective, boy. I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was crazy.
Wow.
Nah, that was back in my athletic days. If he'd have caught me today,
He was in trouble.
hey, he
Father
probably
God, in the
wouldn't have
name
made
of
it.
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to make my sign of the cross and keep on going.
All right. Whew. Oh, well, Ellen McNair said, when you go from carrying 135 to 200, right? Trying to do that handstand. Yeah, it's a little more
Oh
weight to
yeah,
balance.
yeah.
That's a little more weight to balance.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Your hands are like, wait a minute, there's something wrong. There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Mayday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny how your mind remembers. Like,
Metacarpals.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
man.
But yeah, so it's interesting how, you know, like I said, how our bodies change and how we feel, like how your mind's like. Remember how you used to, like, what they say, like getting on the bike. Oh man, don't do that. So what about staying up all night?
Oh no, I ain't done
I was
that in
never good at
years.
that.
I ain't done that. Yeah, I was very good at that.
See that, Sam? I ain't the only
Never.
one. See that? I ain't the only one, Sam. She's trying to call me
No,
out.
I was very good at that. I go to the club. I come out the club 2-3 o'clock. Go to the after spot till about 5 or 6. Go to the house, shower, and I'm back out the door to go to work for 7 a.m. I'm talking. Hey, still a little sloppy drunk from the night before.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I've been counting my sleep hours since I was 15.
Wow.
Really? Oh man.
Wow. We used to hang out because you know me and Sam been together forever, so we used to hang out like late, and there were times like I get home around 4 or 5, and have to go to work by 8. You know, that was a rough one. Like
Getting
I was
home
like,
and the getting home and the sun is coming up. That's probably happened to me 3 times in my entire life.
wow.
Really?
Yeah,
We
just
used to do
like
that.
for recreational fun, like
Yeah.
being up all night
Yeah.
till the sun comes up.
Right.
Nah,
Oh, yeah.
maybe 3 times in my life.
Yeah. See, and then I realized I need sleep because I remember one time I worked at a dentist manufacturer. Like they manufactured the equipment for dentists, and they had these little burls. I forgot what they use them for. They like, I guess for drilling the teeth or something like that. And we're supposed to send out something to another company. So I packed them up and sent them. And then I was in the office. He was like, dude, you realize you sent a whole box of empty plastic things. No burls in them, just the containments to hold them. I was like, did I really? Because I remember my man, and it's funny, I remember this story. Like, I remember my man saying, you found something? I was like, yeah, I found. He's like, I swore we was out of them. I was like, nah, I found some. So, yeah, then try to sleep standing up, like, maybe I could just close my eyes
No.
and lean. But I realized your legs won't.
Oh
Like,
no,
your legs won't allow you
man.
to do that.
All
the crazy stuff, man.
And that's one thing. All my jobs back then was kind of like manual labor anyway. So it's not like you had probably a climate controlled environment, right?
Well,
So
we was in a warehouse, but you were in a warehouse, but yeah, I wasn't like super active. I wasn't active enough. Like I had to do I had to do some level of thinking, which didn't help because I was sleeping. You know.
Oh yeah, it was active. It was active. I stayed active like that.
Yeah.
You know, when you don't really have a trade
Right.
specifically.
Right.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you had a trade, but you was in a climate control environment. But I ain't.
Yeah. There you go.
Mhm.
That must mean the phone rang. That's something, right?
Probably.
When I'm working in a warehouse, just back then, you might make what, $12, $13, $14 an hour, something like that. Well, you know, when you work in construction, you in that 20 and up range. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
Like
right,
you make it, and to be 25, 26 years old, you bring it
right,
home. You now this is after taxes. You bring
right,
home $1,000 a week. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like, okay,
right,
shoot, that's what I want to make. I
right,
wasn't
right,
I wasn't into the. I knew I needed to make a lot of money. I wasn't gonna go to
okay,
McDonald's or I
right,
wasn't going so because buddy of mine said, "Yeah, man, you can make $1,000 a week to start. You don't even got to know nothing." That's where I want to work. Yeah,
right, 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 right,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? That's why I want to work. But after you get a certain skill, I mean, it took
Yeah.
me 6 months to get a raise. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
It took me another year to have a crew. Like when I tell you
Right.
about my little Mexican buddy,
Right.
they were under me because I was the one with the radio. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? I'm the
Gotcha.
one that's directing, so I'm like kind of like a crew leader.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was just my whole. I wanted to make as much money as I can because I knew I had to support myself.
Right. 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 Definitely. Definitely. So yeah. So like I said, so you're learning to grow. You're experiencing the physical changes. And some of the limitations that you come up against, like the staying up all night. Like now me, it's about 10 o'clock, 9. I'm about done.
Oh, so down spiral.
Sit down with, I tell people, let's not have no meetings too late because you're not gonna get the best of me. You're gonna
I
you gonna
feel you.
get about that much. But yeah, so it's learning your limitations, learning to kind of shift your mindset and think long term. When was the moment that you or have you, because you may be like, I really don't think about it, thought about like not death and like something's gonna happen, dying, but just kind of like your mortality. Like, when was the moments? Have you ever, kind of considered like, what you need to leave your kids and things of that nature? When was when did you think about that stuff? Or have you ever thought about, like end of life kind of things? Like, of course we always have those side conversations with our wives, if I go, it better not be anybody else, just silly stuff like that. But have you had those thoughts and conversation with yourselves about thinking about end of life or like what you want to leave your family and things of that nature? And when was like the first time you really thought about what am I, what's the legacy that I'm going to leave my family?
Man, I let Brian. I take too long, so I let Brian go ahead and go.
Look, I'm gonna let Kaneem go because I take too long.
Gotcha. Richard said when his parents died. Right. Go ahead, Kaneem. I'm gonna
No,
throw
I
it on
think
you
for
first.
me when I had children, when I started
Okay,
having,
you said when you had kids.
I started thinking about it when I started having children.
Gotcha.
Just simply put, that was really not that I thought about. You're talking about when did the thought begin to occur?
Because
not that
when
you
you're
did
young, you don't think about it. Like, I'm gonna live
Right.
forever. That's why you do crazy stuff. But
it's probably when I started having children, when I looked
Okay.
up and realized, ooh, we just made something.
Right.
You start thinking of. I mean, I think that's when it enters your mind.
Right.
If you're in that space, that family space.
Right.
You're trying to start a family. If you're thinking about starting a family, not just oops, old girl got pregnant.
Right. Yeah.
I'm saying, I was married and
Right.
child was coming. I grew up watching the Brady Bunch, man. So,
Right.
yeah. So I think when I started having children.
Okay. What about you, Kaneem?
Man, I'm gonna get away from my youth because I thought about it when I was younger, like in my teens and 20s. But to reflect when I first,
Hey, good morning, Keith.
when I first got back from Houston, I was 30. Yeah, I guess I was 30. Yeah. When I first got back from Houston, man, I went to LA Fitness because I had a membership at LA Fitness, so I was working out at the gym. And when I came out of the gym, I was getting in my truck. Well, before I got in my truck, I was throwing up cold water. So I was like, what's going on with that? I'm like, you throwing up? You know, this is just straight water, nothing
Right.
else. Because I never ate before I went to the gym. I always worked out on an empty
Right.
stomach.
Right.
So went signed up for a physical, and but when I did my physical, they did all my blood work and all that.
Right.
I had flew to Houston, but when I flew to Houston, I left my phone in my car or my truck at the airport. So when I got back, I saw that I had all these messages from the doctor's office
Oh, okay.
saying that I need to go to the emergency room, and said, "Don't call us, just go to the
Wow.
emergency room."
Wow.
So when I got to the emergency room, I let the nurse hear the voicemail
Right.
because he was talking some medical
Okay.
terms that I wasn't
Okay.
familiar with.
Gotcha.
So they did all this. They did their little test, and next thing I know, I'm in surgery. I wake up. Now, mind you, I ain't got no family in Georgia, right?
Right.
No brothers, no sisters, no mamas, no daddies, no
Right.
cousins. It's just me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I wake up and I got all these tubes out of me and this, that, and third. And I'm like, what is going on? I say, well, your creatinine levels was critically high. So you had kidney failure
Wow.
and you don't have to be on dialysis. And I was
Wow.
like, what? And it was
Wow.
like, yeah. So they started giving me all these social workers and this, that, and the third, and trying to tell me. So, make a long story short, my first dialysis treatment, because I
Right.
had all these ports in me.
Right.
So they was doing this, and they did that for like maybe I want to say like 30 days, maybe 2 weeks. I bet been 30 days.
Okay.
So I had all these ports in my neck where they
Right.
was hooking me up.
Right.
And when they started doing it in my arm,
Right.
and for those that have had a shot,
Right.
imagine these are bigger needles,
Wow.
and you getting two of them,
Right.
and you getting them 3 times a week.
Right.
And then when they have it in your arm, they don't really know where you port at. So it's kind of a practice. They got to find out what's the best spot to get for you to have a good treatment.
Right.
So you might get 4 to 6 stabs in your arm. They call it cannulation. I call it pain. So you so
Hey.
so you might get 4 to 6 of those in your arm trying to find that port so you can have a good treatment.
Right.
And there was this little Asian lady, and I don't know what was up with this little Asian lady. But anyway, this is in the first 2 months, right?
Right.
So, and I used to just, because like I say, I ain't had no family here. So it was just me, and I was still working
Okay.
12-hour shifts.
Right.
So I'm like, man. And that point, when they was putting it in my arm, I was like, do I really want to do this?
Wow.
Because there wasn't no time. Like, we don't know when you're gonna be getting a transplant, or if you're gonna be able to get a
Right.
transplant, or
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because it's early.
Right.
They don't even know if they're gonna put you on the transplant
That
list
list. Right.
yet. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
I mean, I'm like, and if I tell you I sat in that little chair, and your mind, well, you might not know, but my mind was racing
Right.
because I was in there like, golly, man, is this what my life gonna be like forever?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Just 2 days a week. I mean, 3 days a week with this pain, this stabbing pain, and
Right.
this little Asian lady looking at me crazy. And I'm like, I was just out of it, man. I was
I
like, I
got
was
you.
out. So
I
that
got you.
basically, to make a long story
No,
short,
you
that
good.
first
You good.
that first 6 months
Right. Right.
of me being on dialysis
Right.
was probably the most depressing time at that point
Right.
in my life. Like I had been to jail before, and I had
Wow.
lost loved ones, and
Right.
I had
Right.
seen friends get shot, and you know what I'm saying. And that point
Right.
when it was just about me,
Right.
you know what I'm saying. I was like,
Right.
I don't know, man. But then I don't know. It was like a light switch, and God was like, hey, get used to it. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow.
I was doing them 12-hour shifts at work. I get off work. I go do 4 hours of dialysis.
Right.
I get off of that. I go home.
Right.
You know, it's only 24 hours in a day. I done spent 16 hours
To work
already.
and right.
And not only that, you still got to get to work.
Right.
You got to get to dialysis. You got to get home.
Right.
You got to do your hygiene.
Right.
You got to eat, and then you got to get back to work.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? I did that for 5 years. That same schedule for 5 years. I'm like,
Wow.
man, I was so it just. But the first 6 months,
Right.
make a long story short, yeah, I thought about death a lot, man. And I thought about it after that down the road as I got sicker.
Right.
But them first 6 months was terrible.
Right. Wow.
I think it's these situations like that can expedite the thought process, right? What would normally be a thought at 45,
Right.
becomes a thought. And how old were you, brother?
35.
35.
Right.
Yeah. So you fast forward in terms of your thinking and your perspective changes. But I think in the natural sense, and I can't even begin to express the gratitude. You think about when I met you, you were on dialysis,
Yep.
and now you're not. So it's like knowing you now versus knowing you then. It's like there's more of you available now than there was then.
Right.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And but you're older.
Right.
That
Figure
is
it out.
true.
That's
Thankful,
crazy.
very thankful to be older.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like we get to enjoy more of Kaneem
Right.
now without all of those limitations, those restrictions before. And so and I think, like, to your earlier question, AD, like your thought pattern with regards to legacy does change, but I think as we age, your thought pattern towards life evolves, you know, because even like you think about how you make decisions.
Right.
The older you get, the more time you take to consider not just the decision, but the impact of the decision.
Right.
Because you've lived long enough to experience the outcome of a decision.
Right.
Oh yeah.
When you're 16, 18, 19, I want to do it now. You're not thinking this could hurt you at 25.
Right.
But when you're 35 and 40 years old, you're saying, ooh, I remember when I was 18.
Right.
And I thought I could.
Right.
By the time I was 24, I was like, ooh, why did I do that?
Why did I do that? Right.
When you've had time to live with the impact and the outcome and the consequences of your decisions, it changes your thought pattern, which is why it's so difficult for mature adults to have these conversations with young people.
Yeah.
Man, what you talking about?
Is that I was thinking, and that what you was transitioning with the changing the way you think. Even when you're presented with certain things, it's like, even when you want to do it, it's like, can I commit fully to doing it? It's like that was never a question before. If I could do it, I'm gonna do it. But now it's like, can I give it the time necessary to really do it correctly? Can I give it the time that past ads do it? Yeah, I can do it. But can I do it? With the time that I have. Yeah, I got 15 other things. I'm gonna add you number 16. And it seems like the older you get, the more you consider, like, and I think it's that burnout too. It's like, man, I want to, but I already got enough. Because
but the thing is, you've gotten old enough to recognize what it's going to cost you.
Yes.
If you're really gonna do it. It's one thing to say, yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go play basketball. Well, you could go play basketball, play one game to 15 and be cool. But there's a major difference between giving an hour to something and deciding to go make a career out of basketball.
Right. Indeed.
And what I'm saying is, there's a time you think, ooh, man, I'm gonna go be a basketball player, but you don't think about taking 1,000 shots a day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You think about, ooh, I just hit a 3.
Right.
And that's how we do in life. We do that with jobs. Ooh, that person was really nice at Starbucks. I think I want to go to work for Starbucks.
Hey, good
right?
morning, Deborah.
Until
Yes,
you meet
indeed.
that rude customer,
Right.
and
Right.
you don't have the patience that that other person has,
Yep.
who was nice
Yep.
in the face
Yep.
of madness.
Yep.
You know, and
Yeah.
and that's like when the older you get, the more you realize, ooh, there's a lot more to this to consider.
Right.
And if I'm gonna do this, I have to be all in. And when you're young, you want to do everything, but you're not all into nothing.
No. No. Right.
That is
There
for
are
sure.
exceptions to that, obviously.
Definitely.
You know.
But for the most part, yeah, we kind of want to get into everything, any opportunity, any way to do stuff, you know, and like you said, not just counting the cost like payment wise, but you know, what is it going to cost you mentally? What is it going to cost you time wise? Like, you know, what is all of this going to cost you physically? You know, sometimes if learning to run and jump over fences can be can weigh you out a little bit, you know. So but yeah, it's definitely counting those costs. Even as you get older, you know, situations happen and how you respond, you're like, man, I'm too old. I'm not about to go in. I know where this is going. And I'm not following down this path. I'm not going there with you. I gotta get home. I ain't doing this. Go home and say what you want to say. I'm out of here, you know. So seem like and it should be a natural progression, you know, like you realize, you know, this decision leads to this decision and this leads me back here, you know, like after watching, like, you know what, I'm gonna stop making that second choice that always leads me back to that same space, you know. And as you get and I think, you know, especially as adults, we try to teach the younger to do it, but we know we've been knuckleheads. Like, nah, you don't know. You ain't been alive long enough. You know, like, dude, I know.
Yes, yeah, I've learned not to even say that to young people. You know, I mean, I'll say it in jest, like in a joke, like,
right.
You're a whippersnapper, you don't know nothing, like
right,
sarcastic.
right.
But the reality is, like the one thing that I learned, not one thing, but one of the things that I learned, especially thinking about hearing Kaneem's story and having a son with special needs, you know, some of the decisions that we make, you know, they don't just impact us, they impact those around us. Right. So if it goes sideways, you know, not only are you facing the consequences, but there's other people that are impacted. You know, I used to tell my daughters, like Brianna and Rachel both dealt with respiratory issues, had asthma as children, as babies. And Brienne was always, you know, really in tune with what her body was doing. If she started feeling funny, she's like, hey, something going on up in this chest. We need to deal with this. Rachel, Rachel be running 103 fever and you don't know till you touch her. Wow. You know, because she didn't, you know, she would be in a full-blown asthma attack before she ever says anything. Right. And so we had to, and what happens is you have to, you know, every 4 hours, you got to get on that machine, you know, you got to, it's consistently. And if it gets too far, you got to go to the doctor, you got to deal with the prednisone, you got all this other stuff. And one thing that we would tell Rachel is, you know, you got to pay attention to your body. You know, if you feel yourself coughing and you're laughing too hard and the laugh turns into a cough, you got to start paying attention. And so as she got older, we would tell her, listen, sweetie, if you don't pay attention to your body, it's harder to get you back if we catch it too late. You know, the longer you wait, the harder it is. But it's one thing to deal with the discomfort on yourself, but it's another thing to have to deal with the fact that you can't get yourself better. We got to get up. We got to watch the clock. We got to put you on the machine, wake up every 4 hours and all that kind of stuff. So it impacts the entire house. And then folks got to get up and go to work the next day. You know, so you have to think about it from that perspective. You know, and I tell people, what I think young people is, you know, this decision that you're trying to make right now. This is one of the things I used to talk to my children about going to college. You know, you graduate from high school, you know, you're tired of school. You don't want to deal with school. But, you know, what are you going to do between 17, 18 and 21, 22? I mean, what are you really going to do? Right. I mean, and what are you going to do that's going to bring value at 30?
That's right. That's good.
Right.
Yeah.
So I say, you know, in 5 years, you're going to have to deal with it today. You're going to have to deal with the present. So I would tell them, you know, think about that. You could focus for the next 4 years, 5 years in college, get a degree and still go have a great time. But at least you'll have more options.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how older people begin to think, you know, man, what is this going to look like 3, 5, 10 years from now?
Right. Right.
right?
Yep. And yes, it's
Fellas, I
yeah.
gotta get up off of here.
So,
But
Mr. Man.
hey, it was a pleasure as always, and I will see
Definitely.
you gentlemen later.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, man, for coming on. Yeah, so that having those understanding your decisions, I think that's like the biggest adulting moment, like really understanding the decisions you make now and how they affect you later. You know, like, does this work? Can I really commit? You know, even when you deal with certain opportunities, like you can make money, but what does it take? You know, like
Yeah.
how much is
Yeah.
really going to cost me for this thing to work? What is the risk factor in me?
I
in
see
me doing-
Keita said she had to learn that about asthma too.
Right. She said,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's and like in those decisions that affect everybody, like
Yeah.
the decisions you're about to make, how they affect that. And I think as a man, you learn it. But it's cool, like teaching your children, like, you know, your decisions affect us. Like me and Sam used to get mad, like when one of the kids do something, they got to be on punishment. Now you just threw our whole schedule off. I was ready to get you to go do something, but now I can't because I got to punish you. You know, like, and your punishment becomes my punishment because I can't do what I want to do because
I got to deal with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so you ruining everything. this action you did just messed everything up because I can't ignore it and I want to, but I can't, you know. So it's those consequences. And as you get older, you know, you kind of learn, you know, and then that paying attention to your body thing is even us, like, you know, you ever had them pains, you're like, okay, am I good? You know, like especially if it's anything up here, you're like, okay, is that just a muscle? You know, like
happened last night.
Right. Oh wow. Right. You're just like, okay, I think you're right. Right. Well, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I think
you
I'm
pause, like, all right,
Right.
what we doing here? What? You're talking to your body. What you doing?
Right.
You know?
Let me know. Do I need to call?
Yeah.
Do we need to
Yeah.
leave? You know, like, because I don't want to ignore it. You know, because man, we just, I'm good, but you don't want it to be something, but at the same time, you don't want to ignore it. Yeah, because you have them, especially if it's like I said, anything in this area, it could be just your muscle, just like a muscle just pulling, doing something. You just like, I don't know what's going on. It says, do you think of the risk or just go for it and mitigate risk as you go and learn?
No, today I think of the risk.
Yeah.
I don't just go for
it. You don't mitigate it.
I mitigate with my next generation.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For me as well. Like you, I'm kind of in between. I'll say sometimes there are some moments, you know, depending on the cost. Like, if I get it wrong, how bad will it be? You know, how bad would it be? You know.
No, I think that's different though. I think, like, you know, we always taking chances.
Right.
You know, there's always a risk in everything that you do, and you know, we walk by faith and not by sight. So,
Definitely.
As a believer, there's always a risk in everything. You know, I got to get up and drive to the store. There's a risk I'll get in that accident, but I need some bread.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, when it comes to major decisions and things like that, I'm always counting up the cost. But even then, I thought Richard was asking, do you just do it without any thought?
Right. Well, that's true. That's probably his question. Yeah, I do.
And I'm saying I'm always thinking about it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yes. I don't. Yeah. No. I don't think I can now. I don't think I could. Even if it's something I've done, jumping in the pool, like, can I? It's gonna be. Yeah, I could do it. You know, like everything. Yeah. I think the older you just everything is. Let me just think. Let me brain process. We're good. I know I've done this before. Even get in the car, you're looking. It's like even driving. Your peripheral. Like I probably check my size like 1,000 times as I drive. You know, because you just you feel like the risk. The older you're getting, the risk of everything is higher. You know, so you're just super aware. You try to be aware of everything. But
I think that's because the older you get, you know, for me,
wisdom and experience.
Yeah, it's because it's gone beyond yourself.
Right.
We're naturally selfish when we're young.
Right.
But the older you get, the more that expands out into your village. And so, more is at risk because, you know, what happens if I disappear?
Right.
You know, so we have to be careful with those things. And that's why, you know, I'm not getting on no plane.
Right.
during COVID. I'm just because I gotta go home. I gotta be home.
Right.
I gotta be
Right.
here. And so,
Right.
but that's what. So when you talk about counting up the cost, you're measuring what you can live with. Here are the things that could potentially go wrong. Can I live with those things that could go wrong?
Right. Right.
That's the thing. And I'm like, oh well, yeah. If I can live with those things that can go wrong, then I'm willing to risk that. Are any of the things that can go wrong catastrophic?
Right.
If it's potential for a catastrophic impact, then I'm probably not going to do that.
Right.
And then you have to define what you consider to be catastrophe.
Yeah.
Right? Are we talking about financial catastrophe? Are we talking about losing your life? Because if you're talking about losing my life, I've been making money my whole life.
Right.
So if money disappeared, I'll pump gas.
Right. Yeah.
Bring full service gas service stations back.
Right.
But if you're talking about risking life and limb, there are only certain situations where that's going to be my decision. That's when I'm protecting my family.
Right. Richard said something good, and I'm gonna he said, if I think about it too much, other than due diligence, I just would never do anything. I get what you're saying. Like you kind of you count up the cost, you find out whatever the opportunity or whatever it may be, and then you jump into it. Like I think about it. Like I said, you get the point. You kind of pause on everything. Kind of pause, think about it. Let's go for it. Like some things you kind of go for it. You see the opportunity, long as and for each one of us, we kind of have our particular red flags. If it's dealing with somebody, you're like, they seem cool, they seem genuine. Didn't trigger anything. For past, he may see him like, he did say something that was kind of interesting. Like that one story. I was with him until he said that one thing. And and then when it happened, the trigger's like, I remember someone else saying something like that, and our relationship went bad. And Pastor may be 100%. I should have followed what Pastor said, but maybe from my experience, I've never experienced something at that space, and it may turn out right. He may be good, but we all have our certain triggers and things like that. But never get so paralyzed. And this is for my adults, y'all, because sometimes we just overthink things and never do it. The older you get, sometimes that's when you really paralyze, because if your life has been a certain way, it's like, I can't see it any other way. Like I can't see, because especially sometimes if you're money making, I can't see making money any other way, and you got to be able to at least try to see the possibilities, and like I said, count up the cost. And is it catastrophic or just a loss of time? Take a chance. Get on a Zoom call. Just listen, hear them out. It's only an hour out of your life. Just hear them out.
And I do that. I'm like, there was a time I wouldn't give people the time of day, but I'm like, you know what? Today I give people the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Because I remember when I was trying to come up.
Right.
And I remember the people that rejected me.
Right.
And I'm like, I never want to be that person.
Right.
I may not get it, but at least if at a minimum, I've given you an opportunity to practice your spiel.
Right. And for me, like anybody in the multi-level marketing, if you don't tell me the name of the company, we gonna have beef. Just go and tell me the name. I'm gonna Google it. I promise I'll still come to the webinar. So I know what I'm walking into. Just tell me the name. It's all good. I'm coming.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way up to promising that I'm coming to the webinar.
I'm at least come and listen. I know. What's so funny? And I know this is a whole nother topic. Sometimes, the high tactic sales is what's annoying when you go places. Just like, let me just listen and make my own decision. I'll come back. You ain't got to keep me there trying to get me to buy something right now.
But again, you're talking about the evolution of thought.
Right.
You're thinking about, because, somebody convinced me to go sell Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door.
Nice.
I did that.
Nice.
Right. I even tried to sell Kirby's.
Nice.
So like somebody convinced me to go door to door and sell vacuum cleaners when I was in my 20s.
knock on somebody's door.
But you know, as crazy as it sounds, it gave me more courage to get up and speak spontaneously.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. And so you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, but you're going to pick up something that can help you later.
Yeah.
That's why you remember that life is a journey, you know, and don't cheat yourself out of an experience. Definitely. Don't cheat yourself out of stepping out of your comfort zone, because it could come back to benefit you and bless you later and bring you a harvest.
Yeah.
You know,
that was me and Amway. Amway was my stepping out, trying to get people to sign up. It was rough. It was rough out there. It was rough. But I got stories for that for days. I can talk about that. All right. Oh, he said, just learned my cousin just had twins at 37 weeks. All right. Well,
congratulations.
Praise the Lord. Congratulations. Oh, Keita said, I had to remind myself of this when I felt the effects of my health reacting to someone else's behavior, cutting loose. Yeah, indeed. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging with us. I appreciate you guys for being here. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel. As always, be safe, continue to do the right thing, and keep wearing a mask. I know it seems like everyone's not wearing a mask anymore. I get it. You do what you do. Yeah. I think that's
I am.
I know. I am too. All right, guys. We look forward to seeing you guys in the AM. I might be having you look out for notifications. I have an extra coming up probably today, tomorrow. Got an interview with somebody to just off. They can't come in during our hours. I have to do them later because they're on a different coast. You know, all that good stuff. But just look out for that notification. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys same time, same channel. Always know that we love you. God loves you more. Continue to stay safe. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for rocking, hanging, being with us. Sharing is caring. All of my replay people.